Today's scholarship that we are going to talk about, to be honest, I haven't heard of it before, even in during my scholarship search. So I'm also going to learn quite a lot from them. And I know that information never ceases and information is key and power. You might not need it today, but somebody might need it. So share the page and write Fulbright Scholarship study in the USA. And somebody on your platform might actually have a click and also learn a bit about it. So I'm not going to say much. I'm not going to do much. And um, we are going to delve right into the session. Now, I'm doing this session with some Ghanaians who are in the US who are studying on the Fulbright Scholarship. So I'll first introduce Eugene Ajay. He's a PhD student in applied economics in Urban University in the US. You welcome Eugene.
All right, thank you very much, Lois.
Okay, so we'll go right into it where you give an introduction of yourself and tell us your journey. So let me introduce the other speakers as well. And the next speaker we have is Benedicta Ichama Kurs. I don't know whether I'm mentioning it right. Hopefully I am. She did an MA in applied economics in Western Michigan University. Benedicta is currently in Ghana, and we'll talk right into that. And Benedicta, are you there? Is your network allowing you to?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you very
Okay.
much,
Yeah,
Lois.
yeah. We would love to see you actually. Okay.
Okay. Hi.
Hi. Yeah. So the next thing is Nat Atuyosin. I've had a speaking engagement with him, and he's popularly known as Apostle, but he's in a PhD in pharmacology and toxicology in Michigan State University. Hi, Nat.
Hi, hello, Lois.
Yeah, good to see you and good to have you back on here.
Good to see you, Lois.
Okay, so we'll quickly go into the session. So just like the names in the order I mentioned, I'll hand over to Eugene. We would like to know a bit about yourself. I mean, your trajectory, introduce yourself, probably how you started off from Ghana and led into this and how you applied for the scholarship and now you're doing a PhD and what else. And that question goes to everybody in that order.
Thank you, Lois, for having me once again on your program. It's very nice to also share my experience going through this process. Well, I'm Eugene Ajay. I completed Kenya University in 2013 in natural resources. Then right after that, I did my national service with Forestry Commission and worked with the Forestry Commission after my national service. Right. So, and in Ghana, I had my master's in environmental economics. Right after that was in 2015. And in while I have my master's after working with the Forestry Commission, so I think so. After graduating from the master's program, I was at work and I subscribed to a lot of scholarship packages, right? So anytime I close from work, I stay about an hour or two and try to read my emails and try to do applications to other schools and try to see if I can get maybe any scholarship to study abroad. So one time I got this general email from this scholarship secretary. That's that Fulbright scholarship. I didn't know about Fulbright, so what I did was I read what Fulbright was about, what it entails, and the application process. So I just applied. I just went through the process. I applied, and fortunately, I went for the interview. I was selected. Then I had to go through the process of writing a GR and a TOEFL, and I gained admission to come. So I got a visa and I came to the United States in 2018, where I did my master's in natural resources and I minored in statistics. Right. So yeah. So the Fulbright program I started Fulbright in 2018 and ended in 2020. So right after my Fulbright ended, I got the opportunity to study my PhD also in Urban University in applied economics, where I'm specializing, like my specialty is more into energy and natural resource economics. Yeah, so that's been the journey so far.
Yeah, it's been a great journey, and I'll love to. We'll delve right into that. So, Benedicta, if you can also share with us your journey.
Okay, thank you very much once again, Lois. And hi, everyone. This is Benedicta Chama Kuz. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, so yeah, my journey too. So I also did economics here at KNUST, and I completed in 2015. Then from there, I had the opportunity to do my service at University of Energy, which, so right from the start of the service, I was so eager to further my studies right after our service. That was the aim. Yeah. So from the start of the service, I started searching for scholarships online. So almost every time after work, I stay behind and then do my research. I search online for scholarships. And yes, I applied to different schools, like in different countries. I tried China, and then I think the last one was USA. Yeah, I got an admission in UK, but then with partial scholarship. Yeah, so I deferred. Yeah. So fortunately for me, the office I was in, they got an email from the US Embassy, Ghana, about this Fulbright scholarship. Yeah, so the secretary forwarded it to me to try, which I did. I was just trying my luck. So I tried, and then yeah, it worked. I got selected, fortunately. And yeah, I moved into the US in March 2018. And then unfortunately, I didn't spend much time in the US. It was just 1.5 years. So I got back to Ghana in 2019, December 2019. And yeah, I'm still here trying to
Great,
find my way out.
great. That
Thank
is
you.
good. That is good. We'll talk about why you moved and all that. It will be a good trajectory. So over to you, Nat.
Hi, I guess my name is Nat. Everybody calls me Apostle. So it's nice to meet almost everybody. Okay, so I completed KNUST. I did biochemistry, and when I was done, I did my national service in the biochemistry department. And right after that, I got employment to work with KNUST. So I worked with KNUST for some time now, and as always, I apply to different scholarship schemes. You get partial scholarships here and there. And then in 2015, I heard about the Fulbright Scholarship. So I looked it up about the requirement and stuff. And I have to say by 2016 is interesting. In 2016, when I saw the requirement, it was a little bit sketchy. It's a bit different from now because apparently I didn't qualify for that scholarship in 2016. That's an interesting note. So I sent an email to the embassy, to those in charge of the scholarship. And I explained to them that, hey, come on, your requirements, I feel I'm part of the scholarship scheme, but it seems you have it, a little bit skewed towards professors in the program. So I think this is the initial requirement. And I just opened the email if you want me to read. It said the Fulbright Junior, initially was the Fulbright Junior Staff Development Program.
Okay.
Offers applicants the opportunity to pursue master's and PhD. And in Ghana, to qualify to participate in the program, you have to be teaching at a public or private university.
Okay.
So that was a requirement as of 2016. It is offered to both teaching assistants and lecturers at both government and private institutions. And this is done to strengthen the teaching faculty of Ghanaian universities.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just bringing this up to just encourage people that sometimes you see some of these opportunities and it might exclude you, but you get to have a better understanding of what they are trying to, address. And I'm like, hey, come on, I work in a university. I'm part of the teaching staff, although my role is a technical person. I'm a technician, but I work in a teaching lab. So I had an engagement with them. And then the following year, they changed it and they added, other staff working in teaching roles. So my journey started way back in 2016. 2017, I applied. 2018, I got in. We'll talk about the interview and all that. So I came to the US on a Fulbright scholarship. to study forensic science at Syracuse University. And currently I'm doing my PhD at Michigan State University. So yeah, that's been my journey so far. Thank you.
Thank you. I love the way you walked through the masters in that and that. And one thing about academics is that we are so lent to introduce ourselves everywhere we go. So you get that at the back of your head. You don't even think about it. Sometimes when you even think about it, it's even too late. You don't know what you said. And I think that everybody's story has been different. So Bismarck on our Facebook said that nice stories. May God open a way for us, or and God will indeed open a way for us all. So I'll get straight into the question with Eugene. I want to ask that what is like he not came from the teaching background. Eugene, did you have any teaching? What is the Fulbright Scholarship? How does it mean to you? Then I'll go to Benedicta as well.
Well, I didn't have any teaching background. Right after school, right, I just did my national service with Forestry Commission, Ghana, and after that I got contract. So I was working in the public service, like in the public sector, Forestry Commission of Ghana, right? So when I saw the Fulbright, as Nat said initially, I read that criteria, but I was like, hey, I'm a Ghanaian. No, the first criteria, you're supposed to be a Ghanaian,
yeah,
right? So I qualify by virtue that I'm a Ghanaian. But as to whether I'm a professor, I work in a university, I didn't want to get myself bothered with all those kind of nitty-gritties because I didn't want to go through that tangent, because I knew if I strike that section too much, I don't qualify. So I said, hey, I work in a public service. I work in the Forestry Commission of Ghana, and we also many projects that are ongoing, and I believe I qualify for this scholarship scheme. So I don't see the reason why I don't qualify. So I didn't pay so much attention to the criteria. I was much interested in I'm a Ghanaian.
yeah.
That is it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've had a couple of opportunities where they've asked for certain things and I just overlooked them and still applied anyways. I mean, what's the harm in trying? Then
Exactly.
so what did the Fulbright Scholarship mean to you when you saw the call? I hope a network is you're on mute, Bene.
Sorry. Yeah, thank you for the catch. Yeah, so mine fortunately for me, I had a contract at University of Energy after my service. Yeah, so I was working as a contract staff. And then one of the requirements for the Fulbright is you need to be either a contract staff or a volunteer. Yeah, so I was lucky. So when I saw it, yeah, although I was a bit scared, I just decided to give it a try because I never knew what would happen. So I just tried. Another thing too, I was an administrator, and it's also part of the requirement. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think these motivated me to try, which I did, and then it worked out for me.
Absolutely. Sorry to you, but I think your video is a bit freezing. So if you're here, Bene is having a little bit of network challenges, but you can hear it all right, and I can hear it all right. So I think if the information matters, so yeah, bear with us when her network goes on and off. So now I'll come to you. So we've all spoken about the various things that Fulbright meant to us. I'll ask, what is the eligibility criterion? And I know first we've mentioned being a Ghanaian. Any other? I know other countries are here watching us as well, so maybe we can also include that as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think the Fulbright eligibility is different from each country. So I would recommend, each person, depending on the country you are, to look up the eligibility criteria. Because for some countries, the scholarship scheme is sponsored bilateral, both by the US government and the governments, of the hosts individuals. So those from Germany, I believe it's funded either fully by the German government or both. I'm not quite sure. So there's different eligibility with respect to the payment criteria of your fund. But with Ghana, if anyone wants to see the requirements, you just need to go to the US Embassy in Ghana website and you would see the eligibility criteria. I have it up now. The first thing, as you said, is you have to be employed at a tertiary, research, or government institution. Tertiary research or government institution. You have to be a Ghanaian citizen or permanent resident. limited or no prior experience in the United States. You must have a bachelor's or master's degree. You must demonstrate leadership qualities. I believe is one of the key criteria they look out for, leadership qualities. You have to be highly motivated and have serious commitment to completing the program and returning to Ghana to apply the knowledge at home institution or any institution in the country, and also have a high prospect of receiving steady leave from your employer. So this is the eligibility criteria from the US Embassy in Ghana. And as I said, it's different for different countries. So I would encourage people to look it up depending on the country they find themselves.
Okay. Just to the panel, if I call you and you have someone say something and you think missed out on an information, you can always come in and also chip it in. So with the timeline for the application and any expectation, I'll go to Benedicta. What do you think is the timeline and the expectation? Yeah.
Lois, yeah, so for the timeline, I would say it's approximately 1 year. Yeah, it entails a lot. The process is very tedious and it's 1 year. So imagine you've made the application in March 2021.
Yeah.
And waiting for August or September to get a response, and then you move on to whatever you have to do. Yeah, but this with Fulbright, it's different. The timeline, I would say it's approximately 1 year, because for me, when I checked, it's 9 months. Yeah, I think it took 9 months before I heard from them. That's the final stage.
Wow.
Yeah, so first of all, when you apply, you'll be called, if you are shortlisted, you'll be called to come for an interview at the embassy. Yeah, that is the first step. And then after the interview, if you pass, you would also be called that, yeah, you pass the interview. So prepare for the test, GRE and TOEFL. Yeah, and then one thing too about Fulbright too, you have to always be ready, because when they call you today that you'd have to prepare for the TOEFL, in 2 weeks' time, you are writing the TOEFL and GRE. So you always have to be ready. Yeah, so that's the second step. And then after the exams, I think your essays too, they go through your essays. So another thing too, is you need to have strong essays. That's the statement of purpose and the study objectives. You need to have strong ones. If you are lucky and there are corrections, the leader would call you and then ask you to make some corrections. Yeah, so that is also another thing. So after the exam, the 2 exams too, I think they have their cutoff, depending on your program, the program you want to go and study in the US. Yes, and then after the exams too, if you are shortlisted, that's if you pass to the final stage, that will be the following year. So you'll be contacted the following year. Wow. To prepare for a pre-academic program before the main program. So yeah, so I would say it takes approximately 1 year.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that the scholarship, the application, because you're talking about a lot of application is ending on the 30th of June. Do you think someone could meet that in terms of I think if you not can take the question, somebody could meet applying within this course, or you would advise the person looks to next year around the same time? Yeah.
Yeah. I think if someone wants to apply in Ghana, yeah, you can still try. Because for me, I think when I got it, as I said, I was scared, a bit scared, right? So I was reluctant a bit. So I think the deadline was like, for instance, let's say if 30th June, this year's on is 30th June, time is 12 noon. I submitted it, I think like 10 minutes after the deadline, the 12 noon. Yeah, but it still worked out. Yeah, so if someone is considering applying, the person should go ahead. Yeah, okay. So you just need to get your essays ready, the 2 essays, like the important one, statement of purpose, and then the study objectives, and then your documents. You can still go ahead and apply. It's not too late. That's what I would say.
Okay. Anyone has something to add on to that? Nah.
But I have to say you're pretty damn lucky to be able to put in after the deadline and
And
go through.
still, yeah.
That's were shine. Well, I have to say, I think that's the thing about the Fulbrights. They are receptive to everything. Okay, it's a competitive scholarship, but however, if they think you are qualified, they help you through the process. I will not name names here because I've not had permission from them, but they are really wonderful people, the US Embassy people. For me, what I would say is I think Benedicta probably made it look so easy, but as I said, I had prepared like ahead. So I already had my SOPs, my everything written down. I think the only thing that was probably delaying was my letters of recommendation. And trust me, I had even those ones ready, but then it had to go through the professors and everyone to submit. So if anyone is planning to apply, is it too late? It is too late if you have not, if you are starting from scratch. For me, that's my perspective. Why? Because it's very competitive. If you are going to begin writing your SOPs and all that, and Lois, you are aware of this, these guys check for plagiarism and all that. So if you don't have anything, today is 19th, right?
Yeah.
And you are beginning from scratch, is it possible? Yes, it is possible to meet the deadline. Go for it. If you think you can if you can spend all your time and energy into it, it is possible. But then I spent almost a year, and when the time was due, I just put it in, and I think that counted for one of my successes. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. I see all the questions coming in from Facebook. Be rest assured, we just have a set number of questions here, which will do answer your questions, and we'll take every question. So if you do have a question, put in the chat box, and we'll be sure to answer them. So I'm gonna go into it. So I read that you guys have said as well that you need GRE or you need TOEFL. Now they said before or after the application. Eugene, what do you think? What does the statement mean? That means you can put in the application and go write the GRE after, or I mean, how does that work? I don't know if you can hear Eugene, right?
Yeah, can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
The Fulbright is a US sponsored scholarship, right? It's the biggest scholarship in the United States, run by the US government through the Department of International Education, right? And it's run through by the various embassies that the US, like, so in all countries that the US has embassies in, they run these scholarships. So it's not just for Ghana, they run in almost every country. And it's more like an exchange program between the US government and the host country, right? So let's say, so we have other countries, so we have other Fulbright scholars who also come to Ghana and also come and study. So they get attached to our hospitals, our universities, yes. So it's more like an exchange program. So that is one thing that I wanted to be aware of. And secondly, right, as Nat was saying, this is a very competitive scholarship, and I know every year in Ghana, I think about every year in Ghana, I think about 3 people are awarded this scholarship, right? And so look at the number of graduates that we have every year channeled out of the universities, and they award only 3 students. So that tells you how competitive this scholarship is. And concerning the GRE, if you put in your application, right, and you are shortlisted for the interview, right, that's the first stage, the interview where they select, maybe let's say they have 100 students who applied, maybe 20 are called for the interview, right? And out of the 20, maybe let's say 15 are shortlisted, right? So the shortlist 15, the embassy pays for the GRE and the TOEFL. You don't pay anything for it. Yes, you don't pay anything for it. So it's very competitive. It's the most important stage of the Fulbright application process is to pass the interview, right? It is no joke, and they're very nice people. Like they're very sweet people. They interview you like, it's more like you're in a very relaxed environment. They ask you questions based on the documents you submitted to them. They won't ask you any questions outside what you submitted, the package that you submitted to them. So as Nat was saying, the most important thing is to get prepared, is to be very prepared. You know, you can't send them a document and ask you questions within the document and you cannot answer. Because in my case, my SOP and my motivations were geared towards deforestation, like climate change and other stuff, right? So, and fortunately for me, I worked with the Forestry Commission and I had hand-on experiences and I played a lot of roles on issues concerning climate change, deforestation, galamsey and other stuff. So when I went to the embassy, I went for the interview. Mind you, they knew about galamsey as of 2016, 2017, 2018. So they asked me what ways the government and the Forestry Commission is doing to combat galamsey and how am I involved in galamsey and what am I doing as a young graduate working in the Forestry Commission, and how they come up with answers for them, right? And that is what they want at the embassy. Like they want leadership skills, people who are very innovative, people who are like you have to have this kind of motivation to answer questions, give abrupt solutions to problems.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
And secondly, after you've gone through this interview stage, then you are shortlisted. Then they ask you to go write a GRE.
Okay.
They pay for you and everything, right? So that's it. And you need to be very prepared. If you pass through the interview and they tell you you've passed the interview stage, you can write a GRE any moment from that time.
Oh wow. Great.
Yes.
Great.
It might stay. For me, I had about 3 weeks to write the GRE and the TOEFL.
Okay. So you
Yes.
you actually had foreknowledge about, so you started preparing, just waiting within, just in case you're choosing.
No, I did. As I didn't know about the Fulbright when I applied. I didn't know the criteria. I didn't know anything. I just applied. Yes. So
I like that.
Yes, I didn't have no knowledge about Fulbright. I was working and I came across this package and I was just trying. So I was going through the process and I liked it and I was meeting up the challenges. So I had about 3 weeks to write the GRE and the TOEFL, and the GRE you write about 2 times. The first time you write it, they have this notion that, or maybe the first time was maybe like your trial stage, so you write the second time. So you write 2 GREs and they are all paid for.
Wow.
Right. So firstly, the most important thing is to put a very strong application, and the second stage is the interview. That is it. So from that stage, you go to
I think that the GRE. Part of my questions did not have the interview, so I'll some interview questions. I think we'll talk about that last, so the panel can think about it. But talking about putting in a very strong application, I'll go to Nat. What were the scholarship essays that you were required to write? I think somebody has also asked that question. And probably if you mention it and you can give some tips on your side, then I will go to Benedicta to answer where she came from, and Eugene, where I think Eugene has spoken a bit about that in terms of deforestation and how to capitalize on climate change and stuff. So now over to you. What are the scholarship essays and how did you target that? Just to give someone an idea of how they can think about their write-up. Yeah.
Okay, so I think there are 2 essays, and I'm looking at mine, the one I submitted, because ours was paper-based. So I looked it up, and I think we have 2 essays. One is study objective, and the other is a personal statement. Okay, and I wanted to go into forensic toxicology. Okay, and my case, I think the thing about making a case with respect to the essays you write is giving them a reason why you want to study that program. And my case was basically the drugs and, is it food supplements on our market are not really, how do you call it, controlled. You sit in any bars in Ghana, you have all these guys selling this product and stuff on the line. We have nobody policing such attitude. And I can really say, I can confidently say we have, people dying from some of these drugs, and these people go scot-free. So I made a case of saying I wanted to go into forensic toxicology, and I gave instances about these situations and why I believe it is important, I need to be trained. And also I did my research, and you would understand that in Ghana, there's no as of 2016, I think there was no forensic science master's program in Ghana. It was started by KNUST. I think in 2017, I need to get my facts right. KNUST started the first forensic science program, and I happened to be a part of that program. So I knew how it was. So I made a case about the fact that we needed more people trained in forensic science. Okay, so I did my homework, I did my background about the problems and the challenges and how I can come in and the reason why I need to be go trained in the US. And when it comes to forensic science, the US is one of the best places to be trained for forensic science. So I took a problem, which is the drugs and stuff on the market, and then I put my background as coming from biochemistry and the fact that I can use chemistry to explain biological processes. And I put another problem where I mentioned the fact that there is nothing like, an institution, and it's just KNUST that has started a program and is still in the early stages. And the fact that once I'm trained working in KNUST, I can come back and be able to give my support to KNUST, and in the long run, be able to help, train more forensic science people in Ghana. So that is how I think I wrote my my research objective. And for my personal statement, I talked about the roles I have played. Okay, and I had been involved in a lot of educational programs and activities. I go to churches, health talks, I give health talks in various churches. I had a group where I mentor students, where we go out there into the field to talk about science and science communication. And maybe I'll not go much into the interview so much, but that was one of the key things that cropped up in my interview, my personal statement about my leadership roles. So it's just kind of taking who I am, reading up the requirements of the scholarship, and just packaging myself in such a way that I suited, whatever requirements they wanted from me. I think with time, this is just a summary of what I wrote.
Yeah. Yeah. Just before I go to Benedicta to answer that question, I remember being in a church or public transport in Ghana, and there was a man selling a medication, and it was a dilemma. And the man was saying, "Yeah, mama, like it cures, it cures so many things." And I think as young as I was by then, I still knew that that wasn't right. And I remember my daddy just hit my mouth sharp. And I said, that's a lie. It doesn't do this. And then I knew, what do you know? Keep quiet. That's what the man told me. So that's a very big issue. And I just remember that case when Nat was talking about that issue in Ghana and how it can be solved. So Benedicta, so talking about the study objective and the issue is still funny in my head. Study objective and the personal statement. How did you target it from to write your course? Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Forgive me, the network is very bad here.
I realize you're moving different positions. Yeah. But this is good actually. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I wrote on my background economics. Yeah. So with the study objectives, as they've said, you talk about your interest and your professional skills. Right. So first of all, you introduce yourself. That's with the statement of purpose. You introduce yourself. Then you talk about your experiences, the experiences you've had, career, education, and all that. You talk about that, which I did. And then mind you, because it was my first time applying to the Fulbright Scholarship. And then they have their different criteria for their essays, as compared to the others that I applied to, right? So so I had to go with the criteria and then all that. It wasn't easy. As I said, it wasn't tedious. It was very tedious. So for mine too, I think I was scored like 2 times to make corrections to my study objectives and then the statement of purpose. Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, so that's the statement of purpose. You talk a bit about yourself, which I did, and then your skills, your professional skills, your experience in school, the positions you held, and all that. Then you go to the program you would want to study in the US. And then with the study objectives, too, you talk about your research objectives. And yeah, so mine was I think mine was about sorry, forgive me. But mine was about I've forgotten. Please
Yeah.
forgive me.
I remember we could just move on to Eugene. I know it's a lot trying to find a network,
Yeah,
trying to
it's
figure out
something
the
to
thoughts
get
and
there.
stuff.
And I'm
Yeah.
near my laptop at the moment too. So
Yeah. I mean,
forgive
you're
me.
doing great for us. I mean, I just got the clear picture of what you spoke about. So, Eugene, I know
Yeah.
you've spoken about that. If you want to highlight a bit more on that.
Yeah, my statement of purpose, I basically was looking at issues related to environmental, like environment and climate change and issues of agriculture, right? And that was where I was working. Like I was working in the Forestry Commission, so that was my interest area, and that's where I wanted to develop my career path. So my motivation and my statement of purpose was geared towards meeting was of mitigating climate change and developing very good environmental strategies to combat issues of deforestation and other stuffs and illegal mining. So that was the entirety of my SOP. And my personal statement, right? It was basically, it talked about me in person. So what I've done, my role at Forestry Commission, what I do, and and I was more into like forest biometrics, like where we go into the forest areas to take a lot of measurements and we try to allocate timber for harvesting and all those kinds. So I have to package all what I do, my work and everything into the personal statement and try to make it very appealing to somebody who didn't have any idea of what of who I am, right? So I remember these questions came up. So they asked me, right, so do we do any kind of plantation in Ghana? And I'm like, yeah, we have a lot of teak plantations in Ghana and trying to use those ones to augment like our natural timber, that we harvest and other things. So that is it. So you need to package, like it's like you're selling yourself to somebody who doesn't know you.
Packaging, no.
Yes, yes, yes. It's like you're selling yourself to somebody who doesn't know you. So how you in what way am I going to present myself to somebody who doesn't know me? So that's the question that must be at the back of your mind, right? So in doing so, you ask yourself these questions. So if I say this thing to somebody, is it right? Right? Is it right or is it wrong? Like, does it give a very true representation of who I am? So if you can ask yourself this kind of questions whilst you are writing your SOP and your personal statement, I think you can get a very good essay that's very presentable. And if they ask you any questions aftermath, then you can give very good responses to it. Yeah, that's it. But in all, it's a very competitive something. And if you want to go in for it, you need to be all ready for it.
Yeah, go all out. Benedict are coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're on mute. I like.
Sorry, yeah. So yeah, to my study objectives, I just remembered the topic. Mine was about Ponzi scheme. Yeah, that was when the issue of Ponzi scheme, yeah, the microfinance and savings and loans, giving huge interest and all that, yeah, to customers and all, and then in the end they take their money, they have to close down all these banks and all that. Yeah. So at the interview, I was asked why Ponzi scheme. Then I told them the issue and what's happening in Ghana. So one of them asked me, so Ponzi scheme, it's more or less like a business topic. So if you don't get economics and then they give you business, masters in business, like, are you open for that? Would you be available to do that? I said yes. I'm available to do it. So yeah, mine was about Ponzi scheme. That's the study objectives. And then they asked me questions about the objectives that I listed. And then yeah, as Eugene said, you need to package yourself. You need to read what you've written, what you've sent, to be able to answer the questions they would ask during the interview. So, yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, so just to talk about it, we have a dynamic of courses here. And so I wanted to ask that, is the scheme opening up for different courses, wide range of courses? And I'll come to Nat.
Yes, it's open to the course you want to take. So it's a scholarship scheme. That's the beauty of the Fulbright Scholarship. You decide the program you want to read. So it's not limited to humanities. It's not limited to engineering. It's not limited to economics. I think currently there is one student who is, I think her program is in media. She's doing filming.
Wow.
Yeah. Because if I remember right, Eugene, you can correct me. She mentioned she's currently on site or
Yeah,
something,
she's doing
right?
filming, I think, in Los Angeles, one university in Los Angeles. But I think she's linked to like the Hollywood now.
Wow. You see, that's the problem I have with scholarship applicants. It's like when you see, they want to read the scholarship and see, then think outrightly written before they click on it. Meanwhile, you can just have a click on it, try and find the target area and link the two together, how you can improve that. And I think a lot of conversation is going on around that. If you realize that there is somebody from filming and media, and then I've got a lot of communication studies and media people saying they don't have scholarship, but this is a scholarship you can actually apply for, and it's a master's and a PhD. So link the area of study on a development program in Ghana and how you can improve that. Not, you want to come in? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the beauty about Fulbright Scholarship, which I think everybody can go in for, is it's not limited to students. Okay.
Yeah.
What do I mean by students? I mean, look at the Common Scholarship. Look at the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. Look at the other scholarship. It targets the best of students, graduating students, first class students. You have to be the best of the best. I was a second class upper student and had worked in KNUSC for over 7 years. So I just want to encourage people that the Fulbright is looking for diversity. It's looking for, people with potential. So if you believe, you have a potential, you are a leader in your field and you think you want to address an issue, the Fulbright Scholarship is there to support you. They are not really looking for the best of students. It's just to encourage people to know that, hey, you can also apply. Just make sure you put in a good, argument for yourself. And as you usually put it, they pay for your GRE.
Yeah. They pay for
First
everything.
one, second one. I mean, once they see you are eligible and you show that, hey, you meet the criteria they are looking for, we can't say specifically the reason why they chose me or they chose Benedicta or Eugene, but what I can say is that they are not looking for just first class students. So if you don't have a first class, you have a second class upper, I don't know about lower. If you have a lower, go for it. Demonstrate, leadership qualities, demonstrate the fact that you want to go to school, you want to come back to help your country. And I believe they'll see that in you. And as I said, they will support you to do the program you want to go and read in the US institution. Thank you.
Absolutely. So talking about choosing the program you want to go and read. Okay, Benedicta, you wanted to come in. Yeah, come in, please.
Yeah, I just want to add to what Nat said and then to make things clearer. Like someone might not get it. As he said, it's open to students. Please not like a student, you need to be a student and then you apply. No. It means it's open to everyone. Like you don't have to be let's say a high intelligent student or something before you apply. To come clearer, you don't have to be like you go like I'm in final year, so I want to apply. As Nat said, it's open to students. Please no, not for students. You need to be working. And then more importantly, you need to be working in a government institution or a research company. Yeah. So just to be clear, yeah.
Yeah. So the view I got from our conversation is that look in your niche of area, in your where you're working, what is the trending issue in your niche, and how can the US help in solving that problem. And we will go and talk about the what is required of you, whether you have to come back. I know that a lot of them did their masters and still continue to do a PhD, but Benedicta is coming from an area where she finished her masters and came back. So we'll talk about that. And also, I always also say that the number of years you leave school, your grades become less important because it's more of what can you bring on your table. You left school a while ago. What academic experience have you got? Have you built? What professional experience have you built? Because it's like somebody walks into the room and say that I'm a first class student. I'm like, okay, so what? But somebody walks in and talks about, I've been able to implement these resources. I've been able to train these people. I've been able to train that. The least of the things we are going to ask is that what grade did you make again in the university? It doesn't really matter because the person carries value and the person carries worth. And that's what, propagates or pushes out the person. So without much, I'm going to talk about how did you guys get to choose your universities and also or the schools that you have to, you went to, and I'll start with Eugene.
Well, in the United States, right? The schools are graded, based on a ranking to other Ivy Leagues. Where you have the Harvard, the Princeton, the MITs, and stuff like that. So if you get a very, and let's me just make this thing very clear, right? The embassy is just like a mediator for the scholarship program. The scholarship program is administered by the US government through the Institute of International Education, that's II, right? So after you've gone to the interview and they've shortlisted you for everything, they send your package to the IIE where they try to find school for you. Or maybe if you have a school of a choice that you want to go to, they try to send your admission. It's more like an admission process that IIE is doing for you. Right? So let's say you get a very high GRE score. Let's say you want to read a course, maybe you want to read economics, or you want to read pharmacy, or you want to read maybe nursing, right? So they'll be like, oh, okay, you during your application process, you said you want to go to maybe Auburn University where I am, you want to go to Michigan State, where Nat is, or you want to go to Harvard, right? All these schools have their cutoff points, they have their GRE, the GRE score and the TOEFL score that they are looking for, right? So if you fall short of all these schools, right, then they'll be like, oh, okay, there are about 1,000 universities in the United States, so many universities in the United States, right? And they all have different criteria, right? So let's be like, okay, maybe you didn't qualify for maybe to go to Auburn, you didn't qualify to go to maybe MIT, Yale, Michigan State, or any other university that you want to go to. So let's say maybe there's a university in maybe University of Arizona meets your criteria, right? So they apply on your behalf to the school, right? And since you are coming, it is always a prestige for any university in the United States to accept students on a Fulbright scholarship.
Yeah.
Right. It is the most prestigious scholarship in the United States. That is the fact. Yes, the Fulbright is the most prestigious and I think the longest serving scholarship in the United States, run by the US government. So any school that accepts a student on the Fulbright scholarship, I think they announce it as the achievements, right? And my school now, over the years, their number of Fulbrighters have been increasing over the years, and it's a very good thing for them. It helps in funding all those kind of stuff. Yes. So that is it. So the IIE applies on your behalf to the school that you want to go to, and if you have a school of your choice, you can also tell them that, hey, I want to go to this school, and I know my criteria. I meet the criteria. I've spoken to this professor. I want to recognize this professor. They will do what you want for you after you've qualified.
Okay.
Right. So what you want is what they do for you. Yes.
Yeah, I wanted
what
to
you
ask.
want is what they will do for you.
Yeah. Do you do it in the course of the application where you list the number of schools, or it's after you've been shortlisted that you submit that, or at what stage?
In the course of the application, you can list the schools, right? And after you've gone through the interview process, right, and you write a GRE, and if your GRE scores meet those schools' criteria, then you list about 3 schools, and out of which they will choose one. So they'll apply to all the 3 schools, and if one of the schools select you, then you are sent to that school, right?
Okay.
But if you don't select, if you don't list any school that you want to go to, then it's at their discretion to find a very good school.
Okay.
Yes, that is it.
Okay.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask, I understand that. So I wanted, just because I'm picking from other scholarship, do you need to get admission into the school, or you don't need all those beforehand? Nat, do you want to come into? Or
no, if you because of the stringent nature of the what do you call it, of the Fulbright scholarship, right? If you go to the interview and you go to the GRE score and get a GRE pass mark that they need, I don't know why you get a school to go. You get a school to go because the process is very stringent, and as I told you, it's the most prestigious scholarship in the United States. Right. So that should be at the back of your mind. So any admission officer who the IIE, the Institute of International Education, is trying to bring you a student. Right. So yes, it brings you a student. Or do you want to reject that student? Because this is a government sponsored scholarship. Right. So why would you want? It's not like the university is the one going to pay for you, going to pay your tuition and everything. No. No, it's the government who is bringing somebody to come and study. So why would you want to reject that student? And the student also qualifies. Yes. So that is the background to that. Yes.
Okay.
So if you have a very good GRE score, that means Harvard, they will accept you.
Absolutely.
If you have a very good GRE score, that means the criteria of the graduate school, they don't have any reason to reject you. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Talking about that as well. What is the benefits that comes with having, you've spoken about that it's a very prestigious scholarship in the US. So what are the other benefits, like in terms of monetary, or that comes with Fulbright and the JY requirement? I'll go to Nat, then we'll talk about the job prospects after, where everybody will have a go on that. So now if you can take that of the benefits of the Fulbright scholarship, and the JY requirement.
Thank you, Lois. I think the benefits still continues up to date, although I'm not on the Fulbright scholarship. But I would begin from home. The first benefit was I didn't have to queue for visa. I just had to walk to the security personnel and tell him I'm on the Fulbright scholarship and I'm coming for an interview. And he's like, okay. He allowed me to, bypass most of the queue. And then I went in. I queued for just a minute, actually. So it was, but then it's a fully funded scholarship, okay? For Ghana, the US government fully pays for your, your education. But for other countries, it's a bilateral, scholarship. The country of origin pays for your, your funding. So for those from other countries. So, and I know some African countries also is totally paid for by, the US government. So our stipend and our airfare tickets, your pocket money. When I was leaving Ghana, I was given pocket money and I was giving my airfare tickets. And so I left Ghana with that. When I arrived in Ghana, when I arrived in the US, I was given an orientation. You'll be given an orientation, a 1-week orientation in a different institution where you are taught about, staying in the US, living conditions, how to manage yourself, and everything is funded also. And then for that, you are then given an airfare ticket also from that host institution to your institution. I was on a, I had some credit scholarship from my university, which was Syracuse University. So although I was a Fulbright scholar, my university also gave me scholarship for some credits. Okay, so I could take, I think, about 3 courses, and my host university was paying for that. And the Fulbright was paying for my stipend, my health insurance, and almost everything. I think they also pay for scholarship. They give you money for a computer, and they give you money also for books. So I think every year you are giving money for books, and you are giving money also to get a computer to use.
Every semester.
Come again?
Every semester for books.
Yeah, every semester for books. Okay. So that is there. And then there's this thing I think we call, usually what's the name of that program we go where we meet other Fulbrighters?
Oh, it's like where all the Fulbrighters meet together, like in one state. That we have, like the 3. I've forgotten anything about that 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Enrichment seminar.
Enrichment seminar.
Enrichment seminar.
So there's an enrichment seminar where we Fulbrighters from all over the world. We go to, I think I went to Buffalo, and different people go to different places. So that is where we get our T-shirts, and we get to interact with other Fulbrighters, get to know the reasons why we are here. We make connections. So to date, I have friends from different countries. It gives you, the reason why the Fulbright scholarship is in place. And all these things are funded. So, I mean, any program you are on, when you are traveling from one country, like from one region to the other in the United States, it's fully funded. The hotels, everywhere you sleep is fully funded. So that is one benefit also. And there are a lot of training opportunities. I was in New York, Syracuse. We had the Central New York Fulbright group. So that group also embraces you as a Fulbrighter, and they have programs and activities which is funded, and they bring you on board. You get to meet other foreign nationals who are also Fulbrighters. So they're also Fulbright students from the US to Ghana and other countries. So all these people come together, we have meetings to interact. So I would say the Fulbright scholarship has been very, good. It funded almost everything about my scholarship, my health insurance and everything. I didn't have to pay a thing. With respect to the J1, am I supposed to touch on that for you?
Yeah.
Okay, so as a Fulbright scholar, you come to the US on a J1 scholarship, and the J1 is because you're a government-funded individual. So all students that are funded by the government scholarship come on the J1 visa. Students who come on graduate assistantship TAs come on the F1 visa. So we come on the J1 visa. And if you are funded by the US government, you come to the US for 2 years. US government requires you to come back to serve your country for 2 years.
Okay.
Now, most people think it's harsh, but I think it is similar to the Commonwealth Scholarship, if I'm right.
Yeah.
Because the Commonwealth Scholarship, you go for 1 year and you are required to come back to your country for 1 year. So for the Fulbright Scholarship also, you are required to come to study in the US for 2 years. And then after that, you come back to serve your country in any capacity. So you are not required to come back and let's say work. I was in KNUST. I'm not required to come back to work specifically in KNUST. Anywhere in Ghana where I feel my field of expertise is needed, I'm required to come and work in specifically Ghana. I can't come and live in Nigeria for 2 years. No, I have to be in Ghana for 2 years. Also, even with this requirement, I'm still in the US. Why? Once you are done with your master's program, you have 2 options. Either to do something we call OPT, that is optional training experience. So after your education, you can have your training for 1.5 years. That is to work in an industry, gain experience, and then come back to serve in your home country. Or you can also pursue further studies, that is a PhD. So I didn't do my training, work in the industry. What I did was I got a PhD program, and then I moved. The Fulbright Scholarship transferred my visa to Michigan State University, still on the J1 visa. And so I'm here studying for my PhD in Michigan State University, still on the J1 visa, and I am still required to go back to serve Ghana for 2 years. So that is a J1 requirement.
Yeah, that's like a national service, isn't it? Yeah, just impacting where. So I was going to get, like, when you said that before you add it, I was going to ask Eugene that how did he transition to maybe a PhD? Do you want to add anything or Benedicta? Yeah.
Okay. Can I come in or
Yeah,
Benedicta?
Eugene, you can. Yeah, Eugene.
Okay. Just like Nat said, we have, after your program, right? That in our case, we came to do masters, right? There are other nationals who come to do PhD. So, PhD is 4 or 5 years, right? Depending upon the program.
Yeah.
So depending upon the length of your program, that's when the visa, you are given the funding in the visa, right? So in our case, we have 2 years visa to come and study in our various disciplines. And after the program, I decided to do the PhD. I had the option of doing the OPT. That's the job, like finding a job and working for 2 years or 3 years, then moving back to Ghana to serve the country for that mandatory 2 years national service in the country, right? So I decided to the line of getting my PhD, right? But the option of still serving, of working right after your PhD is still open to you. It is not that after maybe you didn't use that option, so it's gone or something. No, you still have that training option after the PhD to still work. Yes, to still work for 2 or 3. Now, how many is it? 2 or 3 years?
It's 1.5 years.
1.5 years. Yes.
We have the option of doing internship or something during school. So that's also another 1.5 years.
Yeah, so 3 years.
But it can be cumulative.
Yes.
If you don't use that period when you are in school, after school, you can add the 2 together for the 3 years.
Yes. So you have the option of working for 3 years, right after our master's or right after our PhD. Yes. But the 2 years mandatory servitude is something that you're supposed to do because the program the aim of the program is an exchange program, right? Yes, so you're supposed to know about the culture of the United States and the benefit and whatever you've learned while in the United States, and you're going to replicate that in your country. That is the motive of the program. It's an exchange program. So right after everything, you're supposed to go back home and serve your country for 2 years. But that doesn't mean that if you want to come back to the United States, you can't come. No, within that 2 years, you can still visit the United States. If you have friends and family that you want to visit, you still have, you have that option to come. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So it's very flexible. Yes.
Okay.
It's very flexible. Yes.
Okay, so just a rollover. You can put in your questions in the chat box. We'll be sure to take them after. So we are going to our last question, where the whole panel is going to talk about it. Then we'll now take questions from the public. But in probably 10 to 15 minutes, we should be wrapping that up. So the final question I'll ask is like the job prospects, both professionally, academically, and I'll go to Benedicta. What are the job prospects of being a Fulbrighter or being having to be on the Fulbright Scholarship?
Okay. All right. Thank you, Lois. Yeah. So the job prospect. So being Fulbright, I said it's an excellent one, and it's a plus one because it's a prestigious scholarship, right? So when you come back to Ghana and you have the Fulbright Scholarship and your CV, one advantage I think once they see it, oh, you went to the US with this scholarship. Oh, okay, fine. Then I think it's a plus for you. But it might not be for everyone.
Yeah.
For instance, in my case, in my case, so I finished in 2019, December 2019. And I would say it wasn't a good time to graduate because in December, that's when applications open. So if you want to further, you'd have to still come back to your country. And yes, so in my case, I also tried the OPT. As I said, I applied to different jobs, but then unfortunately I wasn't getting.
Yeah.
And then one thing too, I think they didn't mention that to it. With a stipend, the amount they give you, if you want to do an OPT, the money should be higher than the stipend you were given during your stay in the US.
Okay.
That is one disadvantage too. That's one thing that didn't help me because I applied to several companies, but unfortunately the salary wasn't so good. And they weren't going to accept for me to stay and then work. And then so I came back. As I said, it's a prestigious scholarship. When you come back, you get places to work depending on your program, your field. But in my case, I have been in Ghana for 1 year and some months, but then I'm not getting a place to work.
I understand that. I like the openness and genuinity of that. Yeah. Are you hoping to do a PhD? Or you just
Actually, I tried my school where I completed, Western Michigan. I did. I got the admission, but unfortunately I didn't get funding. That was during the COVID times last year. So they asked me to defer. I was asked to defer to this year. And unfortunately too, the school canceled PhD. They halted it for 2 years.
Wow.
Because of lack of funding.
Wow.
So that's the issue. That's what happened. But I've tried other schools too. In different countries. So I'm still hoping for the best. And then
COVID came to change a lot of things. COVID came to change a lot of things. And so we must admit that things have become quite harder than it should be. But from my experience, it's not far. It's not far from, if you still have the dream and the passion and you want to get in there, trust me, it will tarry, but it will surely come. So I'm going to talk about Nat, then Eugene on that aspect. Then we'll take questions from the public shortly.
I didn't apply for OPT, but then I applied for an internship when I was in school. And applied to be an intern in the forensic science department. And fortunately, I got into it. I started for, I think, about a month. COVID came, and then we were all asked to go back home. However, I would say the Fulbright Scholarship, I still benefit from it. recently I was applying for a grant and I was talking to my PI, and she said, "Oh, you're a Fulbright scholar. That is excellent. That is going to help you." So I think that the fact that you are tagged as a Fulbright scholar goes a long way to help you, because I have a lot of network I can reach out to, and I say, "Hey, I'm a Fulbright scholar. I worked in this area," and we have this big network. There are job opportunities and all that for the US. I think Ghana is trying to put together and organize something like that. And of course, we know the situation in Ghana is a bit different from being in the US. And I can say there are other Fulbright students I know from my university back in Syracuse who had jobs right after. And I think it might be tied with their Fulbright, it might be tied with the academics. So it's what you make, I believe, out of the scholarship opportunity you get. So for me, I think it helped me get my PhD, because I talked about it during my PhD interview. And as I said, still it is helping me with my grant process. And I know of other people where I believe the Fulbrights might have helped them secure their current job positions.
Yeah, great. Eugene?
Yeah, the Fulbright opens a lot of opportunities for you, right? And it also puts some sort of positive pressure on you to excel. As I told you, is the most prestigious scholarship in the United States. So if you are awarded, then everybody begins to look at you in a certain way. Wow, you want a Fulbright scholar, you're very intelligent. So I remember when I first came to Auburn to do my master's, and my advisor was like, and previously there was one Fulbrighter who was in the department, right? He had just completed his master's, was moving to the PhD program, and he did so well in the master's. So my advisor was like, he did so well. So there's a lot of pressure on you to also perform. I was like, yeah. So it's like students who have gone through the process give very positive accounts of the scholarship, and it motivates you to also work harder, and anybody who you come in contact with wants to work with you. So right after my master's, right, and my advisor wanted me to do the PhD, but he didn't have enough funding, so I switched department from forestry to agricultural economics, right? So, and there was another emeritus who wanted to work with me because by virtue that, one, I'm a Fulbright student, so you're very intelligent, so I want to work with you, right? So that is it. So yeah, so if you put in application to any university and you add that I'm a Fulbright scholar, right? It gives them that notion that you're very intelligent and they all want to work with you. I didn't apply for any job because my motivation was to do a PhD right after my master's. So I didn't. I wasn't interested in doing any OPT or anything. Yeah. So that is it. And I remember when I went for my PhD interview, one panel, like the chair was like, "Okay, so you're Fulbright, right? So you think you're very intelligent."
I didn't say anything like that. It's up to you.
I was like, I'm a Fulbright. I wonder on merit. I was like, yeah. So you're very intelligent. So do you think? So how are you going to help our so how are you going to use that to help our program progress? How are you going to demonstrate that in our program? And she was trying to ask me why I chose the program, and she used the Fulbright tag, they're very intelligent. So that is it. So anybody that you come across who knows you're a Fulbright scholar is willing to do anything for you, is willing to go above themselves to help you.
Yeah. Okay. Just to wrap up the session before we take the questions, if anyone is watching, thanks for watching. And I've gotten a couple of comments I'll just read through. But how should one contact you? Maybe they are doing an application and they want you to help them through. And I always hammer on it that you should always DIY, do it yourself if you need assistance. And they are all equally very busy people. So they can assist you, but not do it for you. I don't believe in that. So if somebody wants to contact you, if you can just, by which means, LinkedIn or email, you can just mention it.
If anybody wants to contact me through Facebook, through LinkedIn, through Instagram, I'm over the place.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So if you can mention the name, the handles you used as well.
Yeah, go to Eugene J. into bracket Ratata on Facebook. You go to say Ratata on Instagram, and I think Eugene on LinkedIn. Yeah, but if it's more academic, like if it's a very formal thing, you need to go to my LinkedIn, right? Because I use my LinkedIn for very formal stuff. But if you want to just, hey, help me with my application and read through my documents for me, right? You can just use my Facebook handle and I just go to some 5 minutes or just 10 minutes, because I'm a very busy person. So I wouldn't have time to engage one-on-one, but quick reviews and everything, like quick comments, and I can do that, but to maybe for 2 hour, an hour session, how to, no, I don't think.
Okay, all right.
I can.
Okay, Nat.
Thank you. I think for me, just look for my name, Natiosen, on either Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. It's my name, so once you use my name. But what I want to beg is, please, don't be saying hi, hello, how are you? Don't be doing that every day, because I mean those are for like personal people I know.
Yeah.
But then I have people just checking up, hello, good morning, how are you? Stuff like that. Please avoid that when you reach out. Perhaps with time you can, but and you send your document, I don't mind, but don't be asking me for my document.
No.
I got an email, I think this morning, and the individual was asking me for my sample documents. And I'm like, I don't know you from anywhere. Why would I submit my stuff to you? So as the others have been saying, we are ready to help. Okay, so come in, hey, this is what I've written, and can you go over it for me? Yes, I can spend some time, go over, help out, and give you what feedback. Once that rapport is created over time, we can exchange pleasantries.
Yeah.
But just reach out and then state what you want me to do for you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Benedicta.
Yeah, so same with me too. Facebook, Benedicte Chama, LinkedIn, Benedicte Chama.
Everywhere.
For Instagram, I don't think you would go to Instagram to ask for help on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think I already started receiving messages on Facebook from people for help. Yeah, to help them go through the applications and all. Yeah, so Facebook. And if you need my email too, when you send me a message on Facebook or LinkedIn, I'll give it to you if you want to send your documents over.
Okay.
As Nat said, just go straight to the point when you send the message, please.
Yeah.
It's very necessary.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys.